it's on. There we go. Okay, so I'll try to stay out of squinting in the sun. And we are going to do, my teacher called them burrito cups, and they're really fun. And I made a couple of samples yesterday. So here's one, has 3 feet.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Jan's made some of these before, and I did a little carving in it.
That's pretty.
But the legs are, this clay was pretty hard. Well, it's a real rough clay. It's for the wood kiln, or it's a cone 10 clay. It's pretty clay, but rough, and so it was cracking. That the cracking is not part of the lesson. It's just what happened, and I thought about smoothing out the cracks.
Katya.
But Katya's joining us.
Hi, Katya.
I kind of
I have to show you this. I'm sorry.
Rustic look of the.
Oh,
wow. It looks cloudy.
Yeah, but it's not snowing.
Right.
Good.
We did have a sunny day today, or partly sunny.
Good.
Yeah, really beautiful day. Look at you.
A little bit suntanned.
I know. In your light summer garb. Very. Okay, so that was so I was showing them my 3-legged burrito cup. So the bottom.
I was wondering. Okay.
Is just folded in. It doesn't have a separate bottom.
Nice.
Great.
Put in it. So the inside, I don't know if you can see, it has that.
Yeah. Nice.
You can also add a circle bottom, which I think we'll do on one of the ones we're making today.
Okay.
But everybody legged. Here's a little
How pretty. I like that.
A little lid for this one.
Nice. Nice.
We'll see if I can get the lid off, because just barely.
I'm gonna put that so you just picture the empty plate.
A little tight, actually, but I don't want to lift it up by the handle at this point. So I ended up doing the what can I call it, the flange on the inside, and I also ended up putting a little stopper in the very bottom.
Right, otherwise you get a whole little.
Yeah, and actually,
Oh.
looking at it right now, it is pulling. This way is a little too dry, so it is pulling apart. That's one of the problems with this.
Well, you can always fill it in a little bit more, right? Can you turn it over again? I want to take a screenshot. Perfect. Yes, thank you.
And so, yeah, this clay was a little dry, so even though I didn't score it as much as I should have too. So good, I'm looking at it today because I can probably still fix it.
Mary Jane, what did you decide to do about taking your break and classes? Because I'll be back in a couple weeks. So.
Well, right now I'm taking March off.
Okay. All right.
You can bring stuff in to the studio.
Yeah. Okay.
I just we'll see. If people bring a lot of stuff in, then I'll probably do more firings. If they don't, then I won't.
No rush. But then sign me up for April when you get started with classes.
Yeah, we'll see when I.
And I'll probably buy some clay from you too.
Great. Yeah, I do have clay. Mostly. So, I'm so glad you're here, Katya. This is fun.
Yeah, I might not be able to stay. This class comes at 2 p.m, so it's a little.
Oh, you Hawaiians!
Hard to get away from the beach for the middle of the day like this.
I know, so many hours. Wait, okay.
Okay.
So the first thing we're going to do is make. I think, somebody should probably turn off their mic. because there's a lot of background.
Microphone.
Their microphone.
I'm gonna try to turn it down.
Noise.
Didn't want to do that.
Okay. Are you in a noisy place, Katya? Katya? Yeah, if you could mute yourself.
What is it? An otter? Is that an otter down there?
No, that's one of those.
Yeah. Katya,
Yes.
Oh,
can you mute yourself, please?
Mute? You want me to mute?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Sure.
there's too much background noise on your phone. Okay. So I plugged in my other camera and advanced second camera. Okay. Share. Okay, good. So we're recording and we're sharing and I can still see. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to unmute yourself and ask. It was just that, Katya, there was a lot going on in the background where you are, so it made it hard to see. So the first thing we're going to do is, let me see if I can move this a little bit more. Boop. Is make our cup. And so I have covered, you know, a couple of different rounds. This one is the larger one. So I'm going to do this kind of quickly so we can get to the bottom part. I'll cut a flat bottom with my ruler. And when I cut it, I can look at the edge. I didn't use my slab roller for this, but I can look at this edge that I just cut. Oops, I thought I could, maybe if I do it this way, at the edge I just cut. And as I look at it from the side laying down on the board, it's easy to see if it's pretty even or if it's thicker in the middle. Mine's usually a teeny bit thicker in the middle, but this is not bad. I've gotten better over the years at rolling these out. So I have a bag over here to put my scraps in. I'm going to see if my piece is long enough so that I can save, and it looks as so I can save some at the end here. You can't see it, can you? Here. The end here, I'm going to save a piece like this that I can cut a circle out of to patch the bottom or to make the bottom flatter. Sometimes you don't want an irregular bottom like you tend to get with, well, like you do get with a burrito cup. So I'm going to measure this so that I can cut a straight line, because this one, I'm thinking I may put a lid on this one also. So I'm measuring it to be 5 inches, a little more than that. Some of the height, of course, gets taken up by the legs, since you're making the legs out of this piece also. And you're not making them separately, of course, but they consume part of the height. So when you're doing a burrito cup, if you're thinking you want a certain height, be sure to cut your piece a little bigger. Okay, so I'm going to line that up and fold these edges around. See if they meet. Oh, they do. Happy day. Now, sometimes I think I've measured right and they don't quite meet. And if you snuggle it up around the bottom, around the, you know, right where it's against the board here, I snuggle it up on there, and then I snuggle this side up, and you can, I don't know if it's noticeable to you on the camera, but it folded over even a little bit more. Or if it doesn't quite fit, of course, you can just roll it one more time the long way, and that will usually do the trick. So I'm going to cut at my angle so that I can make a nice seam. Nice, hopefully invisible seam, not a scene. I could make a scene too, of course, but that could be embarrassing. It's weird not having any sound on because I don't hear. If you think how do I know if my jokes are funny or not? So if it's really quiet where you are, do feel free to unmute yourself.
Ha 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 ha.
Thank you. Much appreciated. So I'm going to score really well on both sides. Yeah, actually it's deadly quiet in here. So
I hear,
oh good.
just concentrated.
Yeah. If it's just you, then yeah, feel free to not be muted. But I think Katya's in some luxury, lovely spot with lots of people.
I'm at a sushi restaurant in Hilo.
What's your favorite sushi, Katya?
Oh gosh, spicy tuna,
Spicy tuna.
cucumber, avocado.
Mm,
They're all good.
they're all good, I know. Do you like uni? Okay, so making a nice join there with a little slip. I'm using Oregon red clay right now. And I rolled it out a little while ago, but it had been used before and put back in the bag. So it's a little stiffer than, it's not as fresh as some clays are sometimes. And I'm going to use my rib to flatten that seam a little bit while it's here on the form. Since I seem to be having a little trouble keeping my seams pulled together, but like I said, it's a problem with burrito cups, just like it can be a problem with coils too. With the coils that we did the other day, I'm gonna do it a little more like this. What was I gonna say? Yeah, the more you can smooth the inside and bear down before you take it out of its bowl, the better. To really get the coils work together. Okay, so I have my cylinder and I want to get the inside. I want to get it really well joined because we're going to be messing with the shape of it, right? So I don't want this seam to come apart if I can avoid it. Although, as we know, it's clay, so we get to repair it if we need to.
I think my clay might be a little soft yet.
Well, soft in this, for this particular style, soft is not so bad. Only if you're trying to make it really tall, then of course it's a problem, but the legs actually work better if it's a little soft. You can leave, after you form the legs, you can leave it upside down for a while if the legs are collapsing underneath. Now, okay, so when I made this square one, oh, here is, great, Suzanne's joining us.
Great.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi,
Welcome.
thank you.
So here.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi.
Glad you're here. So we're making, these are burrito cups and they have little 4 feet that are made out of the cup itself.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
So, yeah, and it pulled apart a little bit, so I'm gonna have to repair it, but you're not supposed to know that.
Yeah.
So that's the 4 feet, Suzanne. And here's one, a tripod, a 3-foot little vase that
Oh,
actually
I see.
stayed together better than the larger one. But part of that is because my clay was too dry, my slab. So when I did that square one, you can have it round and just, where's my seam? One thing you want to be sure of, here's the seam, is that the seam is not where a leg's going to be, is not on the outside of a leg.
Yeah.
The seam is on a side. So you can have it round and fold it like this, and then like this, and just kind of keep working it in. Look, see, mine keep splitting like that. You can do that, or you can square off your container and then fold in from there after you have a square.
How do you have that top edge so clean and sharp?
It's just I cut it with a ruler,
Oh, a ruler.
and
Okay.
I rolled it out. I've practiced rolling things out a lot, so it got, and it's set up a little bit. I was saying when we started that the clay itself had been rolled out before. Most of it had been. It was a already cut piece, so it was maybe a little on the dry side, which is good for standing up like this, right? But it can be bad for making legs and having the pot do other things that you want it to do. So I'm going to square it off a little bit to help form these feet. And so the feet are going to be formed in the 4 corners, right? And this one, the ruffling of paper. So you bend it in like that. Oh, looks like this one's getting a little, and then we bend it in like this. Now, my seam's not there, but it's acting like, you know what? My seam is right in the middle there. That's what's coming apart. Ah. And that's exactly what I said not to do. Not have
Oh,
it a little bit.
You said to.
I did, but I didn't mean it. You should have it kind of off toward one leg, not at the tip of a leg and not in the middle of a leg, but it'll be okay. We'll just work with it. So before I get these all together, I'm going to score heavily inside the leg part. So this is going to be a leg, right? And this is going to be a leg. This is going to be leg, and this is going to be leg. So I'm going to score inside where these are going to stick together. Now, you can decide to put a false bottom in, or, you know, you can play with this style in so many different ways. So this is just one of them. Okay, so I scored the insides of the legs, and I'm going to put a little slip in there. Hopefully get this to stick together better. So this one, this leg, for whatever reason, because it's a little drier, is cracking more. But I'm just going to ease it down like a burrito. It's not exactly like a burrito, of course, so I'm not exactly sure why they're called. My teacher called them burrito cups, but we were in Southern California, so who knows? But the further you pinch down here, the taller your legs will be. So as I can see, mine's not quite wanting to fit together. So I'm pinching down a little lower. And And I'm pulling up and pushing down to try to keep things fairly even. And when I decide that they're even enough, these two legs are definitely longer than those two legs. And I had this same problem in the one I made before because my seam is right here, almost in the middle. So it's not wanting to bend where I want it to bend, but it'll be okay. So now I'm going to squish these legs together. There's still a hole in the middle, but we'll fix that. So I'm squishing it down on this leg part below the edge. So on its little thigh, I guess it would be its thigh, huh? Not its ankle. So you can keep pushing it down until it all joins together like this. See? I'm getting rid of my hole. You can put a little button on the outside if you want to. Or you can put a button on the inside. There's the inside. Now you can see this is where my seam was, and it did pull apart, but I can fix it too. So it's not the end of the world, and just with a little bit of smoothing, I've got it fixed. Now there's still a little hole in the middle. I think the inside of the cups looks so voluptuous when they're like this, when you push them down. So sometimes putting a button on the outside has seemed like a good way to finish this rather than on the inside. Now mine is sturdy enough. Here, I'm going to switch the camera here.
Mary Jane, what did you call them again? You called them
Burrito cups.
burrito. Oh, because they look like that. Okay. I
'Cause
thought
they're
they were
folded-
eating some kind of burrito.
Folded like a tortilla.
Oh, okay.
So you can put it chubby, and then I wanted you to see it from the side. So to make your feet a little flatter, you can just tap it down, and then you'll get some flatness on the feet. Okay. And I'm going to choose, and you can, blend these together. Here, I'll switch the camera again so you can. Now I feel almost like a professional, right? Professional Zoomer. So you can blend these together so it's a solid little foot. You don't have to show that line on this tripod one. Oh, gee, it's all crazy color, huh?
No.
How come it's so weird? Does the photograph look weird? Maybe it's because of the way the sun's coming in.
Yeah, it's different light.
Yeah, but it's right next to each other. Anyway, you can't see what I'm looking at. So switch it this way and see if. Okay, so on this one, she says, see, I emphasized the seam with a little pressed it in. I think it is this way that because when I go up here, the sun's shining on this and it's maybe so much brighter. The sun's coming in my windows, as we all know it does, which is nice. It's nice the sun's out. It should be out. It's out where Katya's is. It should be out where we are too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and then this little part here was flattening out. And this little part is cracking where my seam was. So if you can, I recommend putting the seam not on this edge, obviously, and not toward the middle, but on the side of a leg. We'll try to do that on the next one. And then I'm going to cut a little button here. Oh, I think I have my little punches. I'm going to cheat with a punch. Get it nice and round. Or I could do a square one, but I think I'll do a round one. So I can cut a button. And then I can just put my button in the middle and seal up that hole, basically. So now it even, so it's split over here where the seam was, but it also is split here a little bit. This is why I was, when you were saying your clay is too soft, it's not. This is one example where soft clay is to an advantage because you can, it's just so much more pliable. My clay's cracky, a little cracky. So, but I can work with it later. And I can, if I'm going to put this button in here, I kind of want to make a flatter place because the button's going to cover it. Make a flatter place. Score it a little, score this a lot.
AJ, what do you use this container for?
What?
What would you use this for? Because it's probably not waterproof.
Well, no, you could make it waterproof. I've made them waterproof. You just have to work on it.
Okay.
Okay, I know. Because these legs are actually, stuck together quite a ways up, almost 3/4 of an inch here.
Uh-huh.
And it's just a matter of getting the bottom secured. So I would reach in here. So where these folds are, it's very, very watertight because I've sealed it on the other side. This is the spot where it would be hard, but again, you can smooth it together there in the middle. Now I have my little button. So, or you could, you could make them for something else too, but I think it's good to have them at least tight enough for sugar, but you need it as tight enough for water if you're going to put sugar in it. It's going to all sift out. Make a cute little sugar bowl. I've made a couple like these where I turned them into pitchers because the legs look really cute as a little pitcher too. Okay. So there's my bottom, and I would work on all of this on the edges here to smooth them, and on this edge, and maybe I put my initials in the middle here. And maybe I bang down the feet a little bit more. Decide if I wanted to make a top for it. I was thinking, you could make a cute dome top with a little flange sticking down from the top too, like we've done before. It makes a really cute pot. I'm getting clay on my computer because I think this from the side, it's a really attractive little guy. And on the one that I showed you that I made yesterday, I also have to stand up to reached in and stretched the inside out to give it make it a little fatter, sticking out on the sides. Another time when it's good to have the clay a little softer. So
I've seen this shape in some Mexican areas. Is this a technique that they use?
I'm sure a lot of, it's just, yeah, I'm sure they do. I don't know if it's particularly Mexican. The only reason I
Legs on it kind of remind me of things I've seen down in Mexico.
Yeah, well, it's pretty cute. The thing I like about it is that the legs, because of folding it over, the legs pull in, which is a really cute look.
It is. It's very cute.
And so you can make them, this one I made large, but you can make them, you know, little drinking cups too. The next one we make is definitely going to be round. Need to put this guy aside. Here's an aside.
Inside is so pretty.
The inside is pretty. And
Yeah.
I was saying when we started that you can also cut a circle. If you're worried about it leaking, you can, before you put the legs on, you can trace, like we do when we're fastening a bottom, the inside shape,
Uh-huh.
and then cut a piece that you can drop in here and seal in to make a flat bottom.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of a lot of trouble to make a flat bottom with it. So it's not something that when I make these, I don't usually do that, because just one more fussy thing. If you're going to be fussy, you might as well carve it, I say. Be really fussy. So Suzanne, did you have your second shot?
No, it's on Friday.
Oh, on Friday.
Yeah, I was just talking to my doctor about it, and you know, they all still think you should do it no matter what your reaction is. So I'm resigned. I'm going to do it,
Good.
and it'll be fine.
It will be fine. Bruce and I just had our first ones yesterday.
How are you feeling?
Good. My arm's sore, but
Uh-huh.
I took Tylenol right after I got it,
Ah.
and then, which they said was fine to do. And then I took some before I went to bed, and that seemed to work out just fine. My son said that the second night for him was harder than the first night.
Yes, for me also.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We'll see if.
And is your son a healthcare provider?
Yeah, he's a PT in Colorado. So he just had his second one last Friday.
Was it easier or worse?
No, he said he had more of a reaction. His arm was sore, like it had been before, probably even a little bit sore, but he said he could do anything he needed to do. It just wasn't comfortable. And he said he also had interesting, like he said, several times over the next 24 hours, he'd feel as if he was coming down with the flu. He'd feel like he was getting chills and just starting to feel like you feel when you know you've caught something. But he said then it would pass in like 5 minutes. He'd start feeling like he was just going to feel awful, and then it would be over. So, and he said that happened several times. But he's so funny. He goes fishing and hiking and camping a lot. So he said, yeah, I didn't feel good. But he said, when I thought about it, if I were alone in the wilderness, I would have gotten out okay. I could do everything. I just felt like more like complaining. So anyway.
I have a friend that just got her second one a couple days ago, and she said she felt like she was coming down with flu or something.
Mm-hmm.
So
But they say
same thing.
Same thing. They say that's a good reaction, because then you know your body is really getting tested and making the antibodies. So I guess that's how you should feel, as much as we don't like it. Okay, so I'm going to make a little bit smaller one here.
Okay, I'm not quite keeping up with you.
That's okay. It's not a race. I'm going to snuggle it up here on the can.
My little X at the bottom is not quite as neat as I want it, and so I'm fussing.
Well, mine wasn't either. Yeah, and the more you do, the neater they get.
Uh-huh.
sometimes with those legs, then I've just ended up smoothing them, you know, pretty much completely. Although other ones I've made like this, I've done with patterns, you know, just like you do a cup, but then done the burrito. Well, and it's very cute with a pattern on it too. So I'm going to score. This one seems thicker, and I don't know if I'd be better off with a little thinner. I don't think so, but this is definitely on the thick side. It's going to be a heavy, heavy cup. I don't know, I think it's maybe too thick, because I don't want to have all that clay bunched up. I'm going to roll it out an extra time and cut it off again. Because if it's too thick, it's not going to behave properly either.
Mary Jane, I think my battery's gonna run out pretty soon, but is there class next week too?
Yeah, next week's
Okay.
the last week, and I guess maybe we'll do sgraffito. I
Some
do
what?
sgraffito, carving through
Oh, yeah.
through one layer of clay to another, or how's a better way to explain it? Painting a slip, or that's quite a bit bigger, or engobe onto your clay and then carving through it is sgraffito. And it's a great way to make a really sharp pattern. But I have to think about because you need to have your vessel should be leather hard to make it work well. So that would mean that everybody needs to pre-make a cup. And I don't know how practical does that seem? Does that seem practical?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Doesn't look like I thinned it at all now that I cut it at an angle. But it was like 2 inches longer, so it had to be thin. Anyway, this will be thin enough. This time I'm going to see if I can place the seam differently. Okay, so I slipped it. I'm going to slip this. Katya, it was great to see you.
Thank you. I'll be back soon.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to coming home.
Good. We'll get some nice weather going for you here.
Yeah.
My trees my flowering plums were all ready to burst before the snow came. So they held off. Hopefully they'll still bloom well.
Well, I'm gonna have a lot of starts for people who want that.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. I look forward to seeing your wonderful garden.
We're on the garden tour this year.
Oh, you are? Oh, neat.
Yeah.
So doing all right, still enjoying.
Oh, yeah.
Can I take any plate?
Wait, where's the sushi? She didn't give us any sushi. She's picking up the plate and she didn't leave us anything.
All right.
John ate it all.
Okay. So there's my cylinder. And once again, I'm going to smooth that interior seam. Yeah, we could do sgraffito if everybody am I doing the wrong direction? No. Had made a cup or vase or a plate. It could just be a plate.
This woman that I watched do the Mallorca, whatever it is.
Mhm.
What's the correct pronunciation?
I've heard lots of people say Majolica, and I always had called it Majorca because it's a Spanish word, but so I don't really know.
She did plates And she said she just used found objects as a mold to do that. And, didn't care if they had, she on purpose made them have slightly irregular edges. And so,
Yeah, there's no reason a plate needs a regular edge. It will still hold your food. Okay. So here's my seam. And I'm going to do 3 legs this time. So I'm going to cheat with my little whatever they're called. Please. I don't know.
I have one, or I made one.
What is it called? It must have a name. I've been doing such a good job hiding my seam. I can't even see where it is. Okay. So I put that in the middle, and then I'm going to mark my 3s. There's 3, 3, 3. So that's going to be where my legs are. So I'm going to put this little dot I have here, and dot there, and get my triangle going. And you can, you kind of turn it so that the dot is right at the edge. I've made plenty of these where the legs weren't perfectly even, so that can happen too, and they can still be really cute. With a 3-legged one, they tend to look a little more lopsided if they're not accurate, but now I can see where I did my dots, and it's kind of cracking open. So maybe I should have done my dot on the inside anyway, on the inside of the circle, so it got pushed together. So, but I didn't. So I'm going to, on this one, I'm going to try to push it all the way together, and maybe I'll put a button on it also, but with a 3-legged, it tends to be easier to together. One thing I've seen made with these, if you make small ones with 3-legged ones, they make good egg cups, for soft-boiled eggs and stuff. You can make a really cute little egg cup. And it's becomes pretty simple because you're not spending time fastening a bottom and all of that. It's up on little legs, which I think of as kind of a traditional egg cups, lifting up that little soft-boiled egg.
Did you score inside there before you put the slip, or are you just putting slip?
No, I did.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
This one, because I'm going to try to put the whole triangle together, I scored everywhere on the inside. So now I'm going to work on pushing this down evenly. And I'm working to get the inside edges even. And that's where I put that darn little hole that turns into a big hole. I'm going to keep pressing down and try to do it in an even manner. This piece of clay is a little wetter than my other piece too, which is good, but one side's going down faster than the other. So by pressing further down on the edges here, I'm able to seal these legs together and get to the middle. So I'm going to go squeeze there and squeeze there, squeeze the tripod, and then smooth the legs. And then if you want to, and you can do, I need my glasses, geez. You can do this on when you have a 4-legged burrito cup too. You can trim, pushing this out. you can cut away here. Why don't I just do it so you say I can cut away a little bit to make more of a foot here. I can cut down like this. I will do it about the same amount. Okay. So I've got more of a little foot going here, but I'm also going to bang it. So squeeze and squeeze and squeeze.
I can't find my little set of markers. Where?
So, whoop. So there's the bottom. Actually, I like the way these bottom. Yeah, I can look down and I can see that this leg over here, I didn't squeeze together quite as much. So I'm going to go back and squeeze that. I'm squeezing it this way to sturdy up those feet. Okay. That's 3 little feet. And then I can smooth this edge. I can make a lid or not. I can put in a button or not, or a little square, little Band-Aid. This one looks a lot longer, huh? But in the end, you who make it will probably be the only one to notice stuff like that. I look at it and say, whoa, that. So I was a little off center when I came to the center because this leg is definitely sticking out. He's sticking his foot out to trip somebody on that side, I think. So I'm going to bend it in a little bit to make it look more even, but it's still not even. I don't know if you can see. These two guys are shorter than this one for sure. But my clay's pretty wet, so I can adjust a little bit, make them a little more even. Okay. Oh, this was a short lesson. I don't have anything more. I've run out.
It's 10 to 5. We go till 5:30.
Well, we usually go till about 5:15 by the time I stop talking. I mean, we could do, oh, I meant to reach through so that we could measure a circle that's the size of the interior, but I forgot. So let me make, here I have a nice piece here. Let me make a top. This way. It looks pretty, it's pretty roundy. So I'm not going to cut it around. I'm just going to mark it for starters, so I can be sure it's round. That's pretty round. So I'm going to make a little cover for this little guy, because I think it would be cute. And let's see. I wish I had something to cut around. Oh, this is almost just right. Look at that. I just have to roll it once. That'll be a little bit larger, but then I can bend down the edges a little bit. It'd be nice. want you guys to get your money's worth. Which since next week is the last lesson, I don't know I don't know if anybody's paid me for February. Maybe somebody has.
I will put money in your Venmo.
Thank you.
Mary Jane, sorry about that.
Yep. That's okay. We've just been sort of rolling along. But I thought I'll try to get everything caught up before I stop, and then we can start fresh. Start fresh.
I have to say mine looks a bit like a urinal.
Oh, well, it sounds very useful then.
A small one for a little boy.
Well, little boys have the worst aim, so.
Terrible.
Okay, so I've cut my circle. It's a nice thickness. It's not too thick, not too thin. It's almost the very same thickness as the top edge of my jar. I'm going to smooth
That an experiment and put it
both
back.
sides a little bit and smooth this
Mhm.
edge too. And I got it a lot rounder, cutting it around that top. And then I'm going to stretch it a little bit by stretching out the inside with my thumbs and pulling to make it a little bit domed. And this is pretty fun. I mean, it's almost like pinching, but it's pinching in a very, what's the word I want? Methodical, more precise way. I'm not just seeing where the clay goes. I'm really directing it and trying to make it very even so that I'll end up.
You're pinching starting with the slab.
Yeah, I'm starting with this slab and doming it a little bit to go with, hopefully make a nice lid for my jar. So I can press out the center more by cupping it in my hand. Of course, this doesn't work if you're making a really big jar, you have to adapt. But for anything up to this size, it works really well to use your hand. Otherwise, you can use a bowl, on the inside of a bowl, work well. Or the outside, you could dome it around and pound it on the outside of a bowl with a paper towel or a piece of cheesecloth to keep it from sticking.
Nice.
So yeah, so now it's got a little kind of mushroomy look.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I should put a little face on it over here. Little eyes. It could make a nice little lantern, actually, if I built it up a little bit more. I think I'll make a little flange on the inside of the lid so that it'll rest inside my jar.
Mary Jane, can you show me the bottom of your jar again? I'm starting over. So.
Hi, Jody.
The outside bottom. Bye, Jody.
Okay. Bye, Jody.
And I cut out a little bit, to make more of a curve here rather than just a straight edge. And it's still pretty wet, so I'd probably work on that some. Did you want to see the inside also, or just the outside?
I'm beginning over, so I'm
okay.
Oops, I forgot.
Yeah, so you find your 3 points.
Right.
And obviously I was a little off because this one's longer. And then you pinch those points and then you bring the sides in from there. And you don't do it all at once. You do it little by little.
Uh-huh.
And this time my seam is right here. So it's not halfway in between. It's kind of comes down onto the side of
Uh-huh.
one of the legs, which is a better spot for it because it didn't pull apart. But also this piece of clay was wetter, so that has something to do with it too, of course. Let's see here. I don't think I do have a long piece here. So maybe I can just use this piece rather than having to roll out a new piece. I'm just going to roll this a little bit thinner because I'm going to make my phalange with this piece. Too many things in the way.
Can I see your bottom again?
Mm-hmm. So Suzanne, are you planning your trip to Hawaii?
No.
Mhm.
Not yet, huh? I guess you still have to quarantine there, right?
I haven't looked into it recently. I looked into it around Christmas time,
Mm-hmm.
but I think if you get a test before you go, then you don't have to quarantine when you're there. But to get the test, you got to go like into the middle of Seattle, and it seems
Well,
like you're exposed to everything.
they're doing tests on the island now.
But oh, really? But can you have it done? Well, anyway, yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah, check because they're doing them every Monday at the Artworks parking lot.
And
Ah.
they're doing them one day at the Artworks, one day at Orca Center, and one day at West Sound.
West Sound is, oh,
Artwork? Is that what you said?
What's his name? Artworks, yeah.
Well, what day of the week is that?
Monday.
Monday at 8 o'clock, and you just drive up.
Oh. And how long does it take for the results?
15 minutes.
Oh. See, the tricky part about going to Hawaii is Hawaii only accepts results from certain testing facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing close by. I know Walgreens was talking about starting up, but when I talked to them, they weren't ready at all yet. And I think that they are starting to have some testing facilities actually at SeaTac, but then you'd have to spend the night to wait for your results the next day.
Right.
So it's kind of a big rigmarole. I'm not up for it right now.
Yeah. It's always a big rigmarole to go anywhere.
Yeah.
True. Understandable. Okay.
And my daughter doesn't sound like she's comfortable with me coming yet
Uh-huh.
and getting into their bubble.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable too. My daughter in Portland was looking at, well, we were asking them to look at coming up here
Uh-huh.
for a weekend or a long weekend with the kids and still being masked, but after we get our tests. But she was saying now the kids are supposed to be going back to in-person school. Well, their son is in-person, I think it's their son. I get too confused about which grandchild's doing what. But and if they're in in-person school, or no, well, yeah, if they're in any in-person school, then Oregon requires them to quarantine for 2 weeks
If they travel.
if they travel outside of Oregon. Yeah, then anywhere, then you have to quarantine when you get back for 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
So so Elisa was saying, she said it's really kind of up to the kids because they're so anxious and excited about being with their friends, you know, and they have to give that up.
Mhm.
And that's, you know, I understand. I don't like that, but I understand it. What? You want to see your friends more than your grandparents? Oh, I guess so, huh?
Whether they're grand.
Thinking back, as much as you might love your grandparents, they don't quite qualify as quite as this. So I made this little phalange. I cut a diagonal through, I lined it up on top of each other and then cut that diagonal. And then I'm just seeing, so now it fits easily. I'm just holding it together so it fits easily inside, which is what I want. I don't want it, you know, you guys have known me long enough. I'm into how it looks. You know, I want it to be aesthetically pleasing, but I'm not into trying to get that super accurate fit because I don't think it's worth it. It's not worth maybe for some things I'm sure, but I don't tend to make those things, I guess. Because I like them to look good, and to fit nicely, but if it takes too much effort to make it fit exactly, I don't see the point for me. There's no point for me. I see the point for people who for somebody. That can be their goal. It's not my goal. So now I wonder if I made that. Well, that should work. We'll see. I may not have made the phalange deep enough, I'm thinking, because it's not that different from the outside edge, but I think it will sit inside here and we'll see. So yeah, it's always an experiment with me. So that's why I like having all you guys to do experiments for me. Oh, that didn't work so well. Maybe I won't do that. And I do it for you too. So, turnabout's fair play. So I can look and it looks as if I'm fairly close to even around the edges, a little closer on this side. So I may adjust that a little bit, but again, close enough. I'm going to score on the inside of my lid here. And I probably will be able to stretch it a little bit more even after I put this flange on, but I want to get the flange properly on.
So you don't want to stretch the flange out because then it might not fit in the
Exactly.
thing, right?
Exactly, but I was just
So
saying
what would you be?
I may stretch out the domed part.
Oh, I see.
So, and I'm going to scratch up this side. And then put a little slip on. Okay. Now I'm going to straighten it a little bit. Get it. Pat it down. Take the favorite tool. I'm going to take, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. So let me tip it this way. So I'm grabbing a little bit of clay from, maybe if I do it this way, you can see it better if I do it backwards for me. Grabbing a little clay from the inside edge here and pushing it down, pulling it down, pushing it down.
Oh yeah, that's easy to see now.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'll just get the hang of this and then, well, actually that's what I'm hoping. Then the weather will change and we can all get together again in class. Much more fun.
Much more fun.
Yeah. So I'm going to do that all the way around. And it's not so even, but I will smooth this out. And maybe I might even put a little coil in here because of the curve of the top, right? It doesn't nestle down. I could have cut the side that I attached to the lid, so I could have cut that at an angle, and that might have been a good idea too. But so many good ideas.
So little time.
So little time. It was time for good ideas anyway. Okay, so I smoothed it a little bit. I want to see if it's going to fit and stay. Move this over here. Yep, it fits and it doesn't slide off. So there.
So do you have flanges? I'm still focusing on building. So do you have flanges on the inside, on the lid and the inside, or?
No,
Okay.
look, this is just a cut.
Okay.
So this is putting the flange on the lid is a lot easier
Yes.
than putting the flange on the inside of the pot.
Yes.
Yes. So, and I'll smooth these edges. And smooth this edge down in here with a tool to get rid of that crack. And just attach it a little bit and hope that it doesn't crack as it dries, but it might. And then I'll put a handle on the top. So.
But you actually wouldn't have to put a handle on that because it sticks out and you can just lift it up with your fingers, right?
Yeah, that's true. You wouldn't have to. If you like the look of it without a handle. You absolutely would not have to. So I said, you know, I like the tops to be kind of mushroomy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, I had that little 5-pointed, do you remember that where I made a little design on the top, a little stick out? I forgot to get it out though. So you can take a piece of cardboard and cut a circle or a hexagon in it and then lay it on here and push this out and you get a little design on the top. I'll see, I think I have it right here. Okay, so I have this piece of cardboard and I cut a hexagon. It's 6-sided, so that's a
Hexagon.
hexagon, yeah. So I want to find, this is better to do before when it's just, when you've finished doming it, but before you put the flange on. I think I'll just eyeball the center. That's a little dangerous, but what fun is it if you aren't living a little bit dangerously? So I'm going to center this onto that. And then I'm going to press up. I'm going to see if when the clay is nice and wet, this works really well. It's moving. Now, this clay may not be wet enough. I'm getting a half-hearted. Wonder if I turn it this way because it's a little bit. I can see how I've moved it already a bunch of times. Okay, so I go on that edge and this edge. I'm pressing with my finger underneath along the edges of the cardboard. And look, I get a cute little
Uh-huh.
pop-up top. And it is not in the center. Ah, look at how far off it is. It's really short on this side and long on that side. So this is a good thing to do before you do all the other stuff. So maybe I have to make everything a little off center.
To make it look on purpose.
Make it look on purpose. Exactly. So I'm going to delineate this a little better. Well, I may have messed up a perfectly good top. Anyway, you get the idea. You can play with these things forever and ever, practically, till it gets completely bone dry.
Okay, here.
So since this is clearly off center, I think I might make some little marks on it or make a little handle that curves up and back. You know, this very directional. Anyway, there you go. Burrito cups. And I could stretch it a little bit too. There's the lid. Make it look a little fatter. So do you have any other questions? Everyone.
Oh,
Fun, fun, fun.
So I'm just stretching out the fat sides a little bit. The sides between the three legs to give it a little rounder. Fatter look.
No, I'm gonna.
If you wanted to make this into a lantern, you could put a little flat piece in the bottom and just attach it lightly to set a candle on or something.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So Oak, you said you had the week off from school?
yeah, it's midwinter vacation.
Oh, right.
So I think I slept for the first 2 days.
Good. Sounds like a good plan.
The whole team that I work with, we all said, I'm gonna sleep for a whole week.
Yeah. Makes sense. So I wonder, so what do you feel about, a lot of the states are having kids go back to school.
Yep, they're coming back. I'll be with students starting on Monday.
Oh, okay.
So the kids that are coming back are, the first through third are already there. And fourth and fifth are coming back Monday. And sixth is coming back the 30th. And Dr. James has said that it's okay. In fact, everyone needs to start planning for 7th through 12th. Have to have a plan submitted by the 1st. So not that they're coming back, but the plan for,
The protocols.
right.
Well, yeah, I think that would be good for the kids.
I wish that the state was saying, well, if you're gonna go back, teachers have to be vaccinated,
Yeah.
but they're not.
Yeah, that would seem to make sense, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it? They're saying that if you have the proper protocols in place, it shouldn't be a problem. But will be happy to work with the kids, but have some trepidation.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. Yeah, I wonder why. I mean, I know there are a lot of teachers, but it couldn't add that much to the population of people getting vaccinated.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's the story. Morning Glory. On that.
Okay, I'm going to put a little handle on mine because I like handles. Just looking for a little piece of clay that will make a good, fun handle.
What did you have that you used? You have a punches to cut circles?
I have all sorts of well, not all sorts, but I have circles in different sizes and squares in different sizes, and I have a star and a heart. So I got them at Clay Arts.
Uh-huh.
And you know, they just had them in a bunch of them, and I just picked out the ones I wanted. Of course, so simple. I think I kind of like that. Yeah, I can't wait till we can go in to get things at the stores we want to go to. My brother needed a microwave because theirs had broken the other day. So he and his wife, they live in Oakland, went down to the Home Depot and went in and got one. It's like,
We needed a new toaster oven. We had to order one online, which was okay.
I said, why aren't you ordering online? Because they're older than I am, not by much, but still, you know. And he said, well, we wanted it today.
There you go.
Yeah, so, but I sort of felt like I was like I was some hokey, you know, out of the woods sort of person.
Yeah, we're all getting to be like that, aren't we?
Yeah, living on an island. And what, a store you can walk into? Never heard of such a thing. Okay. So I just did a sort of a crazy little handle, but it's not very strong right now, but I think once it gets the glaze on it, it'll be strong enough to. And it's uneven enough that maybe people won't notice how uneven my top is. Disguise, it's all about disguise.
Wrap these up. Oh, Mary Jane, I wanted to tell you, my grandson loved that mug.
Oh, good. I thought it turned out so great.
Yes, yes. He texted me
Oh, nice.
on Friday.
It arrived on Friday. Excellent.
Yes, yes,
And it arrived safely, obviously.
yes, it did.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad.
Well, I have a friend that I've been sending apple butter to. And so I just pretty much packed it like I do the apple butter.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to work.
Great. That should do it.
I saw a really nifty trick of packing ceramics, put them in the box with, something at the bottom, and then you blow up a bunch of little balloons,
Oh, really?
Well, that's
and you pack, as many
like-
balloons as you can fit in.
Then they'd be lightweight.
Uh-huh.
That's a great idea.
To try it first with something you're not really like totally.
Great.
I don't care if it gets there or not. Okay, I think I'm done. This is my little curly top.
Cute.
Yeah, the whole thing ends up being pretty. These guys end up being pretty cute, really, I think. They're almost
I like
cute
the
for me.
idea. I have sketches back there that I sketched, I don't know, years and years ago of things waiting to be made, and this will be a technique I could adapt to this.
Oh, good. Good. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I think I'm going to stop the recording. It's probably gotten a little boring for people. I guess, oh, here, I think I can I stop it here? No. Jeez. So I think I have to unplug my camera to get back to, oh, wait. Stop video. Ha ha ha. There it is. No, that's not it. There. Oh, but I wonder, I think it's still recording. It's still recording though. Just our voices. So that's
Yes.
stupid. So it went black. Okay. I have to undo the screen share, I think. So why does it say new share? Stop share. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can stop the recording. Yay.